Did you think at that time then, because the crew were hot, about let's quickly go get back to the studio and go through the recipe we had with So You Like What You See on the second album, or could you just tell that look, things are focused and you might be in a back burner for a while, and decide, to
Well, we did.
give space?
Yeah, we did a second album. We did some nice tunes actually. All That Matters was one that was on there. It was in the Money Train soundtrack. On the Money Train, it was in the Money Train movie. It wasn't on the soundtrack, but it was in the movie. All That
Wow.
Matters to Me. It was in that bar scene where you see Wesley Snipes with Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah.
You hear it in, yeah, you hear it briefly in there. Um, it does well. Whenever I go perform that, it does well. But we did a few songs, like about 7, 8 songs. Yeah, about 7, 8, maybe we did four. It's just that when we were getting ready to go back in and get ready for the promo, pick a single and all that kind of stuff. My question to the label was, if we once we pick a single, are
Mm.
you guys going to promote it, or are we just going to release it and then just kind of go, if it does pick up steam on its own,
Yeah.
maybe it's not happening, move to the next one. Because they do those
No.
2 or 3 album deals basically after, and nobody
Okay.
can give me an answer. Nobody said, "Oh man, we're gonna pick this one and we're gonna work it." And I said, "Okay." And I can't remember. I think we were what single? I think maybe we were picking All That Matters to Me. And I had
Mhm.
some ideas about how we should do it, right? And I was like, "Okay, so am I going to be able to talk to somebody on, some of the ideas I have? Maybe they can implement them, maybe not." But they never could. They never kind of came around to it. So at that time, I kind of said to myself, I can see it's getting kind of busy over there. They're really looking for
Mm.
stuff that's kind of going to take off on its own right now, and then they can just step in and assist it. They really weren't gun ho on just trying to build at that time. So
Mm.
that's when I told David Lombard, who was managing me at the time, I said, "Dave, look, I'm at the point now where I just don't want to be on a label, just say I'm on a label." I said, "So if you can go talk to some people and see where they're at with the situation and see if they have any ideas of, are they thinking about, trying to, get me back to where we were, or either bigger than what we were, or if it's just
Mm.
going to fall by the wayside, I'd rather not be there." I said, "Because if I'm there, that means I can't be anywhere else. Because, when you're on a label, you can't work with nobody else. You got to
Yeah.
get their permission to do anything." So he said, "So what you saying?" I said, "Well, basically, if somebody doesn't say that, yeah, we got Sam, we're gonna do this, we're gonna blah 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 blah. We got plans." I said, "Other than that, just tell them, okay, well, you guys don't have time. Why don't you just release us?" So I asked for a release if that was the case.
Yeah.
So it took about a year and a half or so like that, but then finally we got a release because I was just like, I told Sylvia, I said, I love you, but I said, but I get it. It's a business. You know what I mean? I get it. I
Mm.
said,
Yeah.
because when my single was at its height, when So You Like What You See was like number one everywhere, when you couldn't go anywhere without hearing it 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and with them, I was going to the in stores, the record stores. You know how you go in and your product is supposed to be there because the record label set it up. Your A&R person set it up for you to be there. I
Mm.
went to about 10 stores in about 2 or 3 days, and none of them had my product.
Wow,
I
that's
mean, lines
crazy.
all out the door. So now I'm sitting there, they give you the Sharpies, the sign stuff, and you're in there, no photos, no CDs, and all these stores and the label, and the stores are just like nervous. What are we gonna do? They're gonna tear my place apart. You know what I mean? We don't have no product. We ain't got, no pictures. They thinking we bringing it. And my manager's like, "What do you think? Why would we bring it? The label's supposed to, Atlantic, whoever was over it, I forgot the guy's name. He was supposed to have it there. So when we got there, and he told my manager, "Yeah, it'll be there. Don't worry. When y'all get there, everything." We went to like 10 different in stores, some of the big stores, some of the mom and pop stores, and that's when I knew. I said, "Okay, everything comes." You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
said, "This is how it happens. You go. You got lines outside the door. You miss." And the record label told me, "You, not you personally," he said, "but whoever's in charge of your promotion, they just missed a major opportunity." Because every store I would go to, they say, "When these people get behind you, they stay fans for life, supporters for life. But when you come in, don't have nothing for them, and then they got to go out and say, 'Oh, okay, sorry, we gotta,' you know what I mean?" People, they didn't want you to come in and just sign and they mad now because they missed out on a bunch of money because they had no product to sell, but they got a line out the door because they've been promoting it all week, you know what I mean, or 2 weeks in advance. So I said, wow. And then I'll never forget when I went to Rick Dees. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Rick Dees. He was the head of the pop station in KISS in LA, the #1 pop station. And he had a television show, came on TV. It was Rick Dees. I went on there and I was performing. And Rick Dees was like, he's like, man, Sam, I love this song. Man, I play this song. He's a white guy. He's like, man, I play this song all the time. He was the biggest pop guy on the West Coast. And in between the break for the commercial for the television break, he goes, I love this song. My daughters love this song. He says, who's in charge of your pop? Who's in charge of your pop relations over there at Atlantic? And I said, that's fine. I don't know who's in charge. I can ask my manager. He says, well, tell them in these words. He said, tell them that they're fucking up. This is what he said in between the commercial breaks. We're on live television, right? And I go, really? He says, yeah. He says, I've been trying to get this for 4 months. He's been trying to get it he's been trying to get my stuff so he can put it on pop radio. And he had the #1 pop radio station for 4 months and nobody would get back to him and nobody would get it to him. No. I was #1 on just R&B. He's #1 pop. Could you imagine? We're talking about this song now. Had he got it when he wanted it, this would have been the pops. You know what I mean? This would have now been, I'm on the American Musical. You know what I mean? Now I'm on the Grammys for the #1 best single. And that's when I knew then. I said, you get but one time to do that too. You know what I mean? That's when I knew. I said, it's some kinks in the armor there. So it didn't bother me to go, hey, if y'all not serious, because to know that you dropped the ball when I had a #1 song, and now we trying to build another #1 song, I don't think they, at that time, I don't think they had the personnel to do it. And
it's interesting because we interviewed, Angie, because she was signed to Atlantic around the same time as you. She was married to Eddie Irons. Angie, she's married to Eddie Irons, who was part of the group Brick, the funk group Brick.
Yeah, Brick. Yeah.
Well, Angie, she was signed to Atlantic at the same time as you. She had 2 albums out, and she was telling similar stories about the label as what you're saying now, in terms of promotion and turning up to stores and doing the same issues, Yeah, exactly the same issues.
Yeah, it's heartbreak. Yeah, it's crazy. That's funny you mentioned Brick because I had a friend of mine. Does she manage Brick?
No, Angie's she's married to Eddie Irons, who was in the group Brick.
Who's part of? Oh, he's in Brick. Okay, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, it's not unheard of. That's what I said. It's not unheard of. If you talk to a lot of people, they'll tell you, well, you go, what happened, man? And they'll tell you some of the similar stuff. I said they got overwhelmed. They got too much going on, and for them, when labels brought in so much money, you just become a write-off after a while. You know what I mean? They almost look for you to be self-sufficient, or they look for you to be so super successful where they are forced to be on top of you. They get to the point where they only work with the artist that's pretty much in autopilot. You know what I mean? It's, from a business standpoint, they want to go take the path of least resistance. And labels started getting pretty lazy because they didn't really want to do the groundwork anymore.
Yeah.
Like now, I tell people, they talk about a deal. I was like, a deal? Labels still signing people? I said, right now, if you talk to anybody, they're going to say, how many Instagram followers you got? All they want to know about is if you got 13 million people on Instagram or something. Even then, they're like, well, let's get your TikTok ads up and then we can talk. They ain't giving out no deals no more. You know what I mean? It's like, man, yeah. So I just think about it. I said, I came in music at a beautiful time when deals are still deals, labels are still labels. And now we're in a time where it's independent, which is beautiful. Only thing about it now, you got to do the work.
Hey, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. If you love what you watched, there's over 100 artists that we've interviewed. So please check out the videos. Remember to like, share, and unsubscribe. But better still, become a member of Halftime Chat and get exclusive videos ahead of time. But thanks for watching. Take care.